What's up, everybody? Welcome to episode 101 of the Newberg Podcast. That's right, 100 previous times you've been thrilled and excited to be here. Today is no different. On the show is my co-host Josh, a funny comedian and writer. And today's guest, his IMDb honestly was way too long to list, but you might have seen him on The Odd Couple, True Detective, Newhart, including the finale, Young and the Restless, Krapopolis, Always Sunny in Philadelphia, and many, many more. And you know what? He's just a real delight. Please welcome journeyman actor David Pressman. Welcome to the show, sir.
Well, thank you for having me, Chris and Josh. Happy to be
Hi, Dave. How you doing, buddy?
I'm all right. I'm hanging in. How about you?
Well, I didn't know you did a True Detective. What season?
The best season
2.
Yeah, the best one. The one that people talk about, like, very positively.
Who were the detectives of that season?
Colin Farrell.
And Rachel
Taylor Kitsch.
Yes.
Wow, that's cool.
And Vince Vaughn was the bad guy.
You know what? I still think season 2 of True Detective better than just about anything else on TV and unfairly punished by the viewers.
Yesterday you were saying The Wire is the best thing on TV.
I mean, that season of True Detective compared to everything else that was on TV at that time, I had no idea why everybody was just losing their mind saying it was so terrible.
Do you actually remember what was on TV at that time?
The Mentalist.
Well, I'm going to have to push back there. The Mentalist is a fantastic show.
It's also a lot of a Mentalist at a college showcase is always a thrill when they pull the card out of their pocket.
Yeah, that's fun.
That is always super fun. Okay, so how I got to know David and how I was introduced, we were at Barney's. We were drinking because we go there for football Sundays and other Sundays during the day, having a nice time. A bunch of us were there. And at the time, I was reading the Matthew Perry book, and I read in the book that Matthew said one of the funniest people he has ever met was David Pressman. And as a comedy writer, I thought to myself, oh my gosh, I need to know who this guy is. He mentioned him a bunch of times in the book. And so then I searched your name and I was like, hey, this guy's following me on Instagram. And I was like, hey, I know this guy. And we had already met. And I agreed that you are that funny. And what's it like to be called funny by someone who is super funny?
Well, it's a lot of pressure. I don't think I'm okay. I can be funny. But you're very funny. Josh is very funny. Matthew was very funny. Not anymore.
Mm-hmm.
But all that being in that book is weird. That whole chapter of my life is weird. But I definitely missed the guy. He really was one of the funniest people, but certainly had a lot of demons. So that was pretty sad. I know this is a comedy thing.
No, it's fine. It's real. It's my condolences. I mean, it was reading about it was strange, and not to go into it, but the only thing that I told you else I was going to go into, like, I didn't live here in the 90s. I wasn't around. Like, that's like when like Guns N' Roses and Sunset Boulevard was happening and all that really cool shit. And in the book, it was mentioned that y'all would hang out at the Formosa Cafe back in the day. Like, it was all the rage. Like, what was it like? What was that like? Give me a piece. As a kid from Michigan who didn't come here till 2004, what was like LA like in that time?
LA in the 90s was fantastic. And the Formosa was somewhere that we maybe went there every single night or close to every single night. And you'd walk in and everybody in every booth, and you would just go down, you would hang out, you would go to this booth, hang out with them, go to the other booth and hang out with them. And it was really, I grew up at the Formosa. The Formosa's still there. It's certainly not the same, that kind of vibe. But LA in the 90s was, I made so many friends from the Formosa too, like really close friends that I'm still close with today.
It seems like that. It seems hard now, like post-pandemic, that like because Josh and my Formosa, although Josh is multi-layered with several different compartmentalized friends and clubs that he hangs out with. He's sort of like a more in shape Norm from Cheers because every bar he goes to, everyone's like Norm or Josh. But our place seemed to be like the Den, and now the Den is going away.
Yeah.
It's going to be, or as Josh calls it,
I call it the done or the dend.
Very good.
Yeah,
Good.
both very good. It just seems. Go ahead, Josh.
Can I briefly tell you my favorite Matthew story? I don't think I've ever told it to you, David.
Yes, go ahead.
I had met Matthew off and on, like he was at Eric's 4th of July parties and stuff. But for a period, a friend of mine was staying at the chateau back when there was a big grassy area in the middle, and she would do like a blanket picnic every Sunday. And Matthew was there one time. And it was a big group of us. I had not spoken with him at all. He had no idea who I was, of course. And this girl was just like talking at me, and he could clearly sense that I was not like thrilled about it. And just from across like the group of people, he was like, "Hey man, when did you get your pilot's license?" And I was like, "Oh, I just got it like 2 weeks ago. Thank you for asking about it." And then he just did this bit with me about how I like was learning to fly and how happy he was for me that I was finally getting my license. And we did this fun bit. And it was so great because he was like, "I'll get this guy out of this jam if he can play at my level. Like if he can do this bit, I'll help him out. But otherwise, like, fuck this guy."
Yeah, it was like a test.
Yeah, but he was so nice and so fucking funny. There was nobody funnier than that.
He was swears. I mean, I had such, and I got to do so many cool things because of him, right? He was famous and all that, so we got to go to so many places and stuff like that. He was a good guy. I have a quick Matthew Perry, Julia Roberts story. Can I share that?
Of
Which
course.
I just thought of in my head. I guess I can tell it. So he was briefly dating Julia Roberts. And it was we were at his house watching football. Me, our mutual friend Patrick, who played Sue in Swingers, and the three of us. And she was going to come over and bring pizza for us to watch during the football. So she comes over. She brings California Pizza Kitchen. Good. It was fine. It was nice. And then so then it was the paparazzi was all outside, like wanting to get the first picture of Matthew and Julia. Patrick and I were like, we took that picture. We could probably make a bunch of money. And they kind of laughed it off like we weren't serious, but we were serious. Anyway, they got a lot of money. So we went out. They went outside, posed for all the paparazzi. They came back in, and Julia Roberts says, "Man, I'm just not used to. I'm not really in relationships. I'm just not used to all this kind of stuff." And I said, "Weren't you married to Lyle Lovett?" And she looks at me and just says, "Don't believe everything you read, brother." And I got frightened, didn't understand it, and never mentioned it again.
Whoa.
Don't believe everything you read, brother.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And also just like a good piece of advice for all of America right now.
No, for sure.
Absolutely.
She was ahead of her time.
Oh, wow. I've always heard that she was very funny. I don't
even know if she was trying to be funny. Like, I don't know. It was like, it was frightening.
You mentioned Patrick, who played Sue in Swingers.
Yes.
Were you here for that whole? You were here for obviously the Swingers phenomenon. How much of that was actually like real? As far as like was LA a big swing dancing place, or did they just kind of kickstart that?
No. There was a place called the Derby.
Mm-hmm.
It's where Mess Hall is now, Los Feliz, if you know where that is, that restaurant.
Mm-hmm.
That was a huge thing. The swing dancing, was, and all those, the rockabilly stuff, the Stray Cats and all those people. And I remember going to the premiere of, actually, I visited the set once at Swingers. And then I went to the premiere of Swingers, and we were just like, yeah, this is a really good movie. No one thought it was going to be what it was.
Right.
And I would go out with Patrick, and he would just be recognized constantly. I remember going to Vegas once with him, and it was like I was with, Brad Pitt or something like that. It was just, it was insane.
Vince is a buddy with my friend Brett, and I was obviously like a huge fan of the movie, and like that was one of the reasons I moved out here. And I think a lot of comics can say they wanted to be Mike when they were like, when they were like coming up in comedy, and they were playing cards upstairs at the Mexican restaurant that used to be on. Oh gosh, it was Velvet Margarita, I think it was called.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mhm.
So we were. So if you remember the scene in Swingers where they walk into the party and everyone stops and just looks at them for a beat and then goes back to what they're doing. I walked upstairs to the Velvet Margarita and I was with my friend Brett and everyone was playing cards there. Everyone stops, looks at us, and then went back to what they were doing. And I thought it was one of the coolest things. I was like, oh my gosh, this is great.
Yeah, I
fun.
always if I was with Matthew or someone like that, I would always like to like walk a couple of paces back just to see everyone's reaction, and it's really like to see how people freak out when someone like that just shows up anywhere.
I was at Adam McKay's birthday party, and it was like right after Vice came out, and so it was like Moby was on stage singing cover songs. It was a very like Hollywoody party. It was Adam McKay's birthday, and Brad Pitt walked in. And like all these famous people, it was like Brad Pitt was in a room alone or royalty. Like he could walk anywhere and everybody just like didn't make eye contact, but instinctively like got out of his way. And he just like walked around. It was wild to watch.
Yeah, those kind of guys, movie stars.
Yeah, they're sort of. I mean, who do you think is like that level of famous now that's in a movie that like other than Tom Hanks? I mean, is there somebody at that level that you would just drop everything to work?
Well, Brad Pitt is still at that level.
Okay, yeah,
I was a Rock.
Tom Cruise.
Tom Cruise for sure. Tom Cruise is the last movie star. He's the last guy that people are like, oh, I'll go see the new Tom Cruise movie, whatever it is.
Yeah,
it doesn't seem like a lot of people can. It doesn't seem like a lot of people can open a movie now, like the way they could back in the day.
Finn Wolfhard.
Are you just describing me?
No, that was a real deep cut. Sorry, it's an actor on Stranger Things. I love the name.
Finn Wolfhard.
That's the guy who he kind of looks like the singer for oh god, what were they called? All American Rejects. Isn't that the guy? He's like tall and kind of skinny. Yeah.
He's in those new Ghostbuster movies. Let's just forget I mentioned Finn Wolfhard.
Today's episode is brought to you by Finn Wolfhard. It's very, very exciting. So, okay, so you've been an actor your whole life. Your parents were actors. I think if I read correctly, your grandparents acted as well. Did you want to be an actor, or did you just kind of figure this is what I have to do?
Well, I first wanted to be a cop. Huh?
Really?
If you know me, that would be ridiculous. Yeah, see, that's the kind of reaction I would get. I would really wanted to be a cop, and I also really wanted to be a drug enforcement, the DEA. I wanted to work for them because I wanted to get drug off the streets. And then I did drugs, and I went, I can't get them off the streets. These are
not a good conscience. They belong on the streets.
So, and then my parents talked me out of being a cop. They said you can pretend to be a cop if you're an actor. So they're actually encouraging me to go into this business. Yeah. So I'm like, okay. So yeah.
Have you played a cop?
I have.
Nice.
I have played a cop.
Was it everything you dreamt of?
What?
Was it everything you dreamt of?
Nah, it was disappointing.
So what you were 12 when you started acting? Is that what? Again, I'm doing IMDb math. It looked like your first accredited role was 1979 or 77.
Oh, yes. My dad was an actor, and he had a series called Mulligan Stew on CBS in 1977. It lasted 13 episodes, but it was like against, if you remember the show Soap, back in the day, and some like huge hits, and no one wanted to watch Lawrence Pressman really do anything at that point. And so I got my SAG card being in that. He put me in it like a little guest spot.
A lot of people don't know this, but Finn Wolfhard's great grandfather was in Soap.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting. Well, full circle. Look at that.
Yeah.
Gerard Wolfhard.
Oh.
Yeah. He played Mary Hartman's neighbor.
Interesting.
Do you have so these are like all my, whenever I do this, obviously, like when we talk at regular places, I said to you when we first met, I was like, oh, so you're an actor. What acting stuff do you do? And do you get that, like when people, like as a comic, I always get, and Josh I'm sure always gets, tell us a joke. What have you done? Where have you performed? And like people out here always kind of want to hear your resume. Do you have people do that to you whenever you meet someone new?
It's a lot of what have you been in? And I'm like, oh, a bunch of stuff, nothing really great. You can check IMDb if you want. I never know what to say. I get very uncomfortable,
Right.
like rattling off my credits.
Right. It is very strange, but isn't it? It is so weird how out here people are a lot of people, not the cool people. The cool people just want to talk to you and say, "What's up? What are you doing?"
Right.
But a lot of people do want your resume. It's still awful.
Yes, it's awful. I don't like it. A lot of people come up. My dad has been in a bunch of stuff, and he's a little recognizable. He's fine with it. He'll rattle off his resume. He's so excited. I'm just like, oh God, please make it stop. And they say, no, not that. He says something, no, not that. And he says something else, no, not that. And then it just keeps going and going. And yeah.
So you're not comfortable with? Is there? What are you the most of all of the things you've been in? And again, you have so many. You've been in so much stuff. What are you the most proud
of? Josh, you never give me this kind of respect ever.
Nor will I. Go on.
That's what I figured. I don't know. Being on the Newhart show, I think when I was much younger was, I think, probably the coolest thing that I did.
Did you get to see how brilliant that guy was, like in action? And
yes, and also so nice, and so supportive. And I it was taped in front of an audience, and I was a nervous wreck every single time. Like there would be times where there's a cue light that goes on if you have to make an entrance, and I was like, I don't know if I can do this. I'm so petrified to go out there. And my parents were in the audience, actually, which is kind of cool. If you can hear, if you watch an old episode, you can hear my mom laugh or my dad laugh, and that's kind of cool.
Oh, that's the sweetest.
Yes,
that is really cool.
Very nice. But no, he was the best. They were all he and Tom Poston, Peter Scolari, Julia Duffy. They're all very nice to me because I was the youngest one by far on that set, and it was a great experience. And being on that last episode was kind of awesome.
That is awesome.
Hey, you're a part of history.
Yeah, that's incredible. It actually says that in one of the things I looked up, you were on the finale, the series finale.
Yeah, the classic series finale, where it was all a dream.
Oh, that is so cool to be able to see to do that. All right, so for people listening, for both of them, I'm sure some of them want to know when you were doing sitcoms in front of a live studio audience, what was a typical day like that like? As far as how long was it? How many different takes did you have to take? Did you have to do things that was multicam, wasn't it?
Yeah. So the only really long day is the actual shooting day. So let's say you start Monday, it's like a read through. Maybe you block, and then you do run throughs Tuesday, Wednesday, and then the network comes in on Thursday. You do a run through for them. It's pretty short day, maybe 10 to 2 or 3,
Mm-hmm.
And then tape night, it could be a long time. I know that the Friends tapings lasted something crazy, like till sometimes 2 or 3 in the morning. They would just do a lot of different takes. And sometimes though they pre-shoot scenes so the audience doesn't have to sit through them. So that makes it a little bit shorter. But I always find multicams to be the most fun because you're like doing a little mini play, and the audience is there, does give you adrenaline. It's kind of cool.
Is the audience cued to laugh the second and third time they hear a joke or a punchline?
They are told by the warm-up guy, hey, act like you've never seen this before. And they laugh. Sometimes way too hard. Yeah.
That's funny. I saw an interview with Lisa Kudrow when she was talking to Conan. Apparently she would get angry with the audience if they laughed too hard. She would say, it's funny. It's not that funny. Okay, fucking cut it out.
That's really funny. It's true.
Yeah, but it's still such a. You get to do something. You get to do something that so few people do, and that's really cool. Like Josh when he got his pilot license.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Exactly like that.
Warm up for a show.
I'm sorry.
Have you ever done warm up for a show?
Years and years and years ago for game shows.
Is that bad experience? Is it hard?
It's hard. What was your experience like, Josh?
I did it at such the wrong. I would love to do warm up now because I'm far more interested in human beings and connecting and making other people enjoy themselves. I did it in my mid 20s when I was like a snarky, young, awful version of me.
Right.
So I was just like, I'm too cool for this. Like, I was bad at it. Like, I hated the whole process of it. It felt like cheap and weird and fake. It all felt inauthentic.
Yeah. I mean, you're still not great.
Right. I mean, if we're going to agree with David, now's the time,
Yeah.
I think. I like doing warm up because it's just like it gives you an opportunity. Those kids that I did warm up on a couple of game shows, and the kids were bored. I mean, like they're there watching game shows, so you have an opportunity to talk to them and throw them candy. Like that was a big thing, you know. Like you're literally tossing candy and you're playing songs. I mean, I've seen there are some really great warm up people, and there are some people who are not good. But you know, a lot of people get them dancing, get them singing, and like are great. Yeah, it's definitely an art.
Warm up for a TV show is the only time, Chris, you're legally allowed to give children candy, right?
Me, no, I can do it on Thursdays if I'm far enough away from them.
From a school.
Yeah, but whenever
I have some god kids I can bring by if you want to throw candy at them.
Oh, that'd be cool. Some god kids.
Oh, some god kids.
What did you think I said?
I wasn't sure.
No.
I just heard a descriptor before kids and didn't know what it was.
Yeah, it was God. I said God.
I guess that's just a word I don't know.
Yeah, I know. You don't.
God or kids?
God. This happened this week. A rabbi asked me if I wanted to do some like ceremony that involves a scarf on Tuesdays. I guess they do it, and I was like, "Oh no, thanks. I'm not that kind of Jewish person." And he was like, "Oh, you don't take your Judaism seriously?" And I went, "I don't take your Judaism seriously."
But he just randomly asked you if you want to do something with a scarf?
Yeah, he was just walking down the street, and he was like, "You're Jewish, right?"
So I was like, what park were you in?
What is a scarf ceremony?
I don't know. It's something Jewish people do. I have no idea. I don't even know how to spell Hanukkah.
Was that before or after he said, "What would you do for this $20"?
It was before, because there's nothing I won't do for $20.
That makes sense.
And a scarf.
I can corroborate that.
Yeah, it's true. Josh does do stuff for $20. Yeah. Did you say and less?
Yeah, a lot less.
It's a fact. When do you think pilot season disappeared?
Oh, interesting question. I mean, I think it's still around in a way, but now it seems like it's all year round because they're doing pilots all the time. Maybe before, like right at COVID, probably.
COVID, you think?
When a lot of things.
Well, the streamers changed it a lot. Like pilot season, when I first moved out here from like January to March, it was just like thousands and thousands of auditions and everything was going on. But the streamers changed all that too.
Yeah, but I also think COVID, they stopped, making a lot of shows and stuff like that.
Sure.
But pilot season, that was always crazy times in LA. And also everyone comes here. There's people that come here from other, like New York or other states just for pilot season. Yeah. A lot of
that was a neat thing. That was a really neat thing, being in LA during a pilot season.
Yeah, it was fun. And then like going through the whole testing process was insane and so nerve-wracking. Like you have to, you read for the producers. Then if they like you, you read for the studio who's making the show. If you get past the studio, you go to the network. So you would go to CBS, let's say here on Fairfax and Beverly. You go into those offices and just 50 people just staring at you. And you're like, oh God. And then what happens, you sign the contract before you go in. So you know how much you could make if you get this job.
Oh, wow.
And it puts even more, it's just like, oh God, that's a lot of money.
What's the biggest thing you almost got or the furthest you got on a big thing that you didn't end up landing?
I was thinking, well, was a movie years ago. Pretty in Pink, the Ducky part in Pretty in Pink.
Oh, wow.
I went into audition. They had me come back and he wanted me, Howard Deutsch, I think was the director. I read the entire script for him. I was sitting in the room, just read the entire script. And I said, oh, I think I might get this. And then I just turned out to be too old. But yeah.
Wow.
That would have been.
I lived at John's house when I first moved here?
Did you?
Yeah, I lived with John and his at the time wife for like the first 2 months I moved to LA.
Did you force your way in, or was he?
No, the whole impetus for me moving to LA, I was doing stand up in Chicago, and his wife at the time was shooting a TV show that was shooting in Chicago. She saw me do stand up and called her rap and was like, "This guy's great."
Oh, that's
And
awesome.
then John and she were like, "Yeah, you can stay at our place when you first move out here." And he like helped me with auditions and shit. He was super nice.
Yeah, super nice guy. Now has my look.
Yeah.
Bald and bearded guy now.
It's all full. If there's a Pretty in Pink too, I think you got a better chance.
I agree with you.
Yeah, because for sure the Duckster will do it. All right, Josh, do you have any questions before I go into my rapid fire fun part?
For David?
Or for anyone,
yeah,
Josh?
I have a question for David. On a scale of 1 to 10, how much do you love me?
That's really hard because it varies every day. There's sometimes where it's a 1, and other times where it's a 10.
Okay, that's fair.
That's a very real answer.
You know what? You know who else that feels that way about me?
Who?
Me.
All women.
All right.
All right.
We'll
So
on the same page.
all right, I will now include both of you in the rapid fire portion of the quiz where every answer is correct. You are both allowed to answer. Whatever you answer is correct. There are no wrong answers. You can say pass, but that's no fun because then I'll just ask the question again.
Okay.
You both get to answer. David is our guest, so he will go first. Josh, you will go second. That means after David. Are you ready?
I am.
Will you ask me the same question or a different question?
It's the same question, but you answer after he answers.
Understood.
Question number 1. Eggs. What's your favorite way to eat them? How would you like them prepared?
Scrambled.
Josh.
Scrambled with cheddar.
You are both, let me see. You are both correct. You are 1 for 1. Are you ready to go to question number 2?
Yeah.
Okay. Have you ever been recognized to the point where you were able to successfully get a woman's phone number?
No.
Okay, that is a no. Josh?
Sort of.
Define sort of.
Like I've done stand up and then been like at a bar, like done stand up in a town, been at a different bar in that town, and someone recognizes me from the show and like, it's like, hey, I thought you were funny.
That's not true. No, it happened in Canada at a bar in Canada.
And when they
Someone thought you were John Cryer?
Yeah.
And when they recognized you, did you think that they recognized you, or did you think, oh, I'm about to get into a fight?
No, I knew that she said that aren't you on that Nickelodeon show, and I said yes, and that's what happened.
You got the phone number?
One time a guy had. Oh, go ahead.
I just confirming that you got the phone number.
I got the phone number, and yes.
Nice.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Many thanks.
One time a guy had to be thrown out of a casino because he kept following me around thinking I was Jeremy Renner.
I see. I would believe that if it was Katie Lang, but not Jeremy Renner.
Wow.
Constant craving. 2 for 2, y'all. You're 2 for 2. Favorite swear word when cut off in a vehicle?
Dumb shit.
Dumb shit. That's a good one. You are correct, Josh.
Mother of dragons.
You really say that?
Yeah, I scream mother of dragons. I trained myself to not swear in front of children by saying mother of dragons.
Why are you in a car with children?
Yeah.
Why am I around children?
You're in a car, someone cuts you off, you scream mother of dragons because you don't want to swear in front of the children. Why are you in a car with children?
Because sometimes people ask me to drive their kids around.
That's
I'm gonna put answer number 3 under advisement. It's just confusing and gross, Josh. All right, number 4, favorite Los Angeles bar.
Oh God, I've been. I like Jones.
Jones.
Does that count as a bar? It's a restaurant too.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right.
Josh?
The bar at Jones, the bar at Dantana's, the Chateau, and the Sunset Tower.
You know what? I'm going to give you a quarter point for each, and you're both correct. Best pizza in Los Angeles, if any.
Well, it used to be Damiano's. I thought they closed down.
Okay.
I guess Vito's for me.
Vito's.
On La Cienega.
Okay.
I remember when Vito's was on Vermont or Hillhurst.
Interesting.
For me, it's Prime.
Prime. Prime's on La Cienega also, isn't it?
Prime's on Fairfax.
Oh, yeah. You're correct. I'm thinking the same thing. I'm going to go with, oh gosh, what's it called? I really like Joe's. I just do. I like Joe's Pizza.
That's good.
I think it's pretty good. What number 6? What celebrity could probably beat you up?
Most.
It's fine. That's a good answer.
Okay.
If you want,
Thomas Middleditch.
Yeah, he's very tough.
Yeah, he is tough.
Thomas Middleditch and most. I'm gonna go with Cher. Cher she could easily take me out. All right. Both of you on the count of 3 answer this question at the same time. If you both answer the question correctly, your lives will be better. And if you don't, your lives will be better.
Oh.
Here's this question. Name any street in Los Angeles on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3.
Sepulveda.
What did you say, David?
Van Nuys Boulevard.
Van Nuys and Sepulveda. Your lives are going to be better. It's
Both
great.
All
right. Question number 8. Do you have a middle name?
Okay. Can I go into a longer explanation or not? So David Pressman.
Yeah.
David Pressman is not my real name. It's
Okay.
David Yedagaroff,
Okay.
which I changed. So my birth name, David Andre Yedagaroff.
David Andre Yedagaroff. That's great.
Yeah.
Josh didn't know that.
I didn't.
Now he does.
My middle name is Lee. L-E-E.
Okay. Oh.
Joshua Lee. What's wrong with Joshua Lee? Why do you got to beef with that?
Yeah,
It's fucking great.
that's dumb.
It's the best. It's the best middle name ever.
Disagree.
Well, you're not in
How
charge of
about
middle names.
Andre? How classy is that?
Ugh, Yedagaroff.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yedagaroff.
Yeah. Let's see. That's actually, you could just be like, hey, everybody, come on over later, and I'm going to tell you how to
get a car off?
Yes, that's what I was trying to do.
I knew that's what your brain was doing. And I'm disappointed in you. This is our friend.
Yeah, I know. That's why you said it, and I didn't. You thought I was trying to pretend like I couldn't say it, but in actuality, I chose to have you take the bullet.
Well,
Question 9.
Sorry.
Question 9. What was your high school mascot?
A knight.
A knight. Okay.
Yeah, we're the
That was a
Cal Prep Knights. Sorry, go on.
The red
that's
Knights.
good.
The Cal Prep Knights.
Cal Prep.
Cal Prep Knights. Okay, Josh.
We were the Richmond Burton Rockets. It was a rocket.
Rocket. We were the Warriors, but I don't think we're allowed to say Warrior anymore. I think it's because isn't Warrior bad or something?
No, is it?
No, it's just a word for someone who like fights.
But it was an Indian, and he was in whiteface, and he had
that should change.
And he had a spear.
There's
okay.
a basketball team named the Warriors. Seems fine.
Yeah, Golden State.
Yeah, that's true. All right. Favorite movie or television quote?
Oh, this is. I'm gonna. Can Josh go now? And then
sure. Absolutely.
The first ones that come to mind from Real Genius, Val Kilmer said, in the great words of Socrates, I drank what? Which I always enjoyed. There was a line in Sherlock about how people are the most interesting puzzles, but unfortunately they're the least they like to be solved the least, or something like that. I can't remember the exact line, but I like that a lot. I'll be back. Another great cinematic line.
Absolutely.
I'm just now vamping for David to think of what he wants.
I mean, it's just good. This is very hard for me because I'm very bad at all that stuff. But I do remember there was a movie a long time ago starring Pavarotti, great opera singer, and I forgot the context of it. But he says, "I don't want to be watered on by Femi," and we would always say that to each other, my friends and I. But I forgot. I think there was someone named Femi, and she was going to water plants. I don't know. And then she watered Pavarotti instead, like people do.
Mm-hmm.
And so I don't want to be watered on by Femi. I enjoyed.
That's a great one. My other two faves.
Is it a great one?
That is a great one.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Breakfast at Tiffany's. Do you know what's wrong with you? What's wrong with me? Absolutely nothing, and that's the problem. Great line.
So bad at remembering movie lines.
And then shoot, what was the other one? I had another good one, but I forgot it. Oh, well.
That's okay. Mine was leave the gun, take the cannolis.
Sure.
That was a good one because I identify with cannolis. All right, final question, David. Thank you so much for being a guest on the show. Last question, Josh. I mean, thank you for being here as well. But David, what is next for you?
Right now, today?
That's how cool this question is. You could answer it any way you want.
I'm going to go meet my friend for lunch at the Americana at the Cheesecake Factory. How about that?
That is good. That is
that's
awesome.
fun.
What are you gonna order?
I'll probably just have to get a burger on a lettuce wrap because I have the thing that I have to be careful of, the blood sugar. So it's going to be a boring lunch, but I'll have a drink. Probably have a drink.
There you go.
There you go.
Yeah.
Priorities.
Yeah.
All right, awesome. Well, thank you everyone for listening. If you like the show, please like and subscribe. You can see David Pressman on television, movies, and behind the camera on occasion. You could see Josh with children in a car for whatever fucking reason. That's just weird.
You should
Yeah, thanks for listening, everybody. See you later.